So this is the photo shoot that I cried on. Not even cried, I bawled my eyes out on this photo shoot. But let me tell you what led up to that. So this happened a few years ago. I was planning a trip overseas and I was in contact with a few photographers that were actually gonna be in that same country when I was there. And I was planning to hang out with one of them. So when I flew there to that country, me and that person ended up hanging out. It was really fun. I was making photographer friends. And the next day we were planning a day trip somewhere that was like an hour and a half away, I think. We had planned that with another photographer friend. So the three of us were gonna go on this day trip. And later in the day, on that day trip, I had a photo shoot with a model that I've been dying to work with. And for months leading up to this overseas trip, I've been like in contact with her, planning this photo shoot, and I was super excited to work with her. Like she finally agreed and I was like, yes, like, you know, when you get really excited when you plan a photo shoot. So that was happening after the day trip at 6:30. So I was like, okay, we'll leave in the morning and then I'll be back in the city by 6:30. Like, we'll make it work. And I hadn't worked with a lot of agency models, so I was even more excited because she's like a professional model. So I was beyond excited for this photo shoot. So the day before that little day trip, I had just told my photographer friend, the one that I was hanging out with, let's just call them Taylor. So I told Taylor, hey, tomorrow after our trip, I have to be back in the city by 6:30 because I have a photo shoot with this model.
Also, I forgot to mention that when I brought up my photo shoot, Taylor asked to see the model I was working with, so I showed Taylor her Instagram.
Taylor's response was, hey, can you ask the model if I can shoot with her too? And I wasn't really sure how to respond to that because it had taken me a while to set that photo shoot up. I think I was so passive back then. I didn't even give a straight, like, no answer. I was just kind of like, I don't know. You know, I don't even think I really answered it, to be honest with you. It just was, I think I was just thrown off by Taylor's question to me. Like, that's the question. I don't know. That was the response. And I asked Taylor if they would film for me for a BTS for my YouTube channel of the photo shoot, and they said yes. So I was like, okay, perfect, this is great. So I'll do the photo shoot and I'll get behind the scenes for my YouTube channel. So I was really excited. So the very next day, we went on our day trip with our other photographer friend, and it was great. We had a nice time, and it was nearing 5 p.m. and I basically said, hey guys, it's 5. I think we should start heading back now, just so I can be a little bit early, because I like being early. I don't like being late to photo shoots. And Taylor was just like, oh, you know, it's still, like, we still have time. There's just a few more things that I want to see. You know, I just want to look around a little bit more. And so I was like, okay. Again, I didn't want to be like the buzzkill of this group and be like, no guys, we have to leave. I was like, okay, no problem. It's 5. We still have time to go back. I felt like we weren't really doing that much. We're kind of just like standing around, looking at things. And so 15 minutes later, I was like, hey, can we just wrap it up and leave in the next 5 minutes? And then again, I was told by Taylor, like, oh no, like, we'll leave in a little bit. Like, just let me go look at like one more thing. And I was like, okay, no problem. And then 5:30 comes around, and the only reason that we ended up leaving is because the place closed at 5:30. So that's the only reason that we ended up leaving. So then I was like, okay, great. Now I can go back to the train station. We can head back to the city, and I can get to my photo shoot. So Taylor's leading us, and I'm just following them. I'm like, okay, cool. We're going to walk to the train station. And after a while, I really felt like I don't see any train station here. Okay, I don't think we're even close to it. I think I checked the map on my phone and I realized we were going in like the opposite direction.
Also forgot to mention my internet was barely working. I did have a map I was trying to load so I can walk to the train, like know where we can go. But it was only until halfway into the walk that the map finally loaded due to the internet. And that's when I realized that we weren't going the right way.
And that's when I was like, hey, Taylor, do you know where you're going? And they were like, no, not really. I mean, kind of, like something like that. Like, oh, I think it's maybe this way. And I looked at my phone again, and I'm like, we're not going in the right direction. So and maybe this is my fault. Maybe I should have been the one to be like, okay, this is the way to go. But I truly thought because they're walking in front of us, they seemed like they knew where they were going, walking very confidently. I was like, okay, like, and you know, they know they were around. Again, maybe it's my fault. I should have just clarified where it is. Maybe I should have went and led us there. That's my fault. I'll take that one. But I truly thought, okay, I'm gonna follow this person who's walking in front of me. It's not like they're also saying like, oh, where's the train station? Like I felt like they knew where they were going. So again, that was my bad. I should have just double checked the map. We made it to the train station at 6:10 p.m. The only problem was the train didn't leave for another 20 minutes. I was so stressed out at this point. By the time the train had left, the photo shoot would have had started at that point. And I was just freaking out because I hated being late. I was embarrassed. Like I had to text the model and be like, hey, and I barely had Wi-Fi, by the way. I had like no internet. I had to like scrounge any Wi-Fi, I could barely get Wi-Fi or any type of internet, so I was like trying to text the model, hey, I'm gonna be late. Some of the messages weren't even going through, so I'm sitting there just texting my friends and just venting that I'm just so upset that I'm about to be late for this. And you know, I tried to leave earlier, but they didn't want to go, and this whole situation could have just been avoided had we just left earlier. So I was a little upset. But again, I should have just been more, I was vocal about trying to leave 3 times. I tried to leave 3 times. The truth is I didn't know how to get back to the city without them. So I couldn't have gone by myself. I would have gotten lost. I barely had internet. So I felt like I was at the mercy of my other photographer friends. Worst of all, as I'm sitting on the train waiting for it to leave to the city, the model texts me saying, hey, I'm almost at the station. And I'm literally sitting in a city. I'm sitting in a train in a city an hour away. The train, like I'm not going anywhere, and this model is almost at the location. So I'm kind of freaking out inside. I feel super embarrassed. More than anything, I'm just upset that this model's gonna just be sitting around waiting for me. I should have been on time. I just think I should have just been on time. I should have left earlier. I'm feeling very regretful right now. Train finally leaves at 6:40. So we were gonna be arriving back to the city, I don't know, like 7:40. That's not even funny. That's terrible. I mean, I've been looking forward to this photo shoot for months now, and I just can't believe that this is happening. And what kind of was strange was Taylor was just so happy, just having the best time. Like, oh my God, look at over there. This is so pretty. Oh my God, just enjoying everything while I'm over here. Like it's like a polar opposite situation. And that's fine. Like it's just something that I noticed. I wish I could have had the same energy as Taylor, but my life as I knew it was over. I'm like, I will never photograph again. I will never work in this industry again. My career is over. And I think it was hard for me in that moment because I am visibly upset. I think it was just hard to see that someone you thought was your friend just doesn't really seem to care. Enjoying, like, oh look, oh my God, like haha, like kind of laughing about things, and just doesn't seem to be bothered by you being bothered or even upset in the slight. Like didn't ask me if I'm okay or anything. Didn't ask about the photo shoot. Really did not bring up my photo shoot at all. Didn't ask me any questions about it. Which I mean, again, that's fine. But I just, again, as a friend, I would have hoped that they would have been there for me. And I don't know. Again, it was my fault. I should have left earlier. Period. It is my fault. I was really quiet the entire train ride. And then I had the model texting me, hey, where are you? I'm here. Are you almost here? What time are you coming? And I mean, I'm trying to text her, yeah, I'm almost there. The train is almost there. Promise. I'll be there soon. And man, I was just extremely stressed out. And I'm just hoping and praying that I can make it on time and I can still shoot with this model. And I'm just, again, just all the hope in the world right now. Just hoping that this photo shoot is still gonna happen. So on the train, Taylor tells me something that I just found to be, I don't know if, maybe I just took this the wrong way. I don't know, maybe it was because I was upset that I just, when they told me this, I didn't know how to take it. They were like, oh, you know what? I just want to let you know you're a great photographer and these things happen all the time. You shouldn't even worry about it. You can't do anything about it now. There's nothing you can do. I didn't feel like it was like a friend like trying to console me. It just felt like, oh, it's okay. Like, you know, like it's fine. Don't worry about it. You know, it was just kind of like that very surface level. I remember replying back and saying, would you wait an hour for someone? If you were a model, would you just wait outside for someone for an hour? You probably wouldn't, honestly. And it's, to me, it's wrong to make someone wait an hour for you because you're late. You should have been responsible. Like, I planned this months before. I should have left early. It's my responsibility. So I just felt super bad. And if I were the model, I wouldn't have waited an hour. I would have just left. We are almost to the city, and I will never forget this. The model texted me, and she said, if you're not here in 1 minute, I'm leaving. And I started panicking, and I'm like, oh my, I have 1 minute to run and to get there. The train stops. I get off. I sprint. Okay, I literally sprint to the location. And the model she had her bag on her shoulder. She's walking away. She's literally taking her first steps away and walking away. And I barely made it to her. I was like, I'm here. I just kept saying, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I just kept apologizing. I'm like, I'm sorry. You could tell, I mean, she was annoyed. I mean, obviously she had been waiting for an hour. I totally understand. And I just felt so terrible. I was so embarrassed showing up late. It's really not like me. You would think, okay, great, the photo shoot's happening, it's a happy ending. No, it's not. When my friend Taylor saw that the model was still there, their demeanor changed completely. And I was just so focused on the photo shoot. I was like, let's not even waste any time. I didn't even explain to the model what happened in detail because I was just like, okay, let's just start shooting. So we got her changed, and then I started taking pictures. And then in the middle of the photo shoot, I was like to Taylor, hey, do you mind filming a few videos for my BTS? And again, I had told Taylor the day before, and they agreed to film for me. So I was like, okay, cool, like just do a little cute little BTS. Handed them my video camera. So Taylor starts filming, and I'm taking pictures. And then probably like a minute or two later, I look, and Taylor put the video camera on the bed, walks away, and then goes on their laptop and is just on their laptop, like, I don't know, on their laptop, like just working or looking up, Googling something, I'm not even sure. So, I mean, yeah, it was, I would have liked more clips for YouTube, but at the time I was just so happy to be doing the photo shoot, I didn't really think much of it. And then later I saw that they literally just filmed 3 clips, like 10 to 15 seconds each, and that's it. So I couldn't really even use any, there was no footage to even be used. Again, Taylor's demeanor was just like very standoffish at that point, and I had been hanging out with them the day before and been chatting with them before I even went on this trip, and just, it was just a very different person than what I was seeing now. I thought my life was over an hour ago, but now things have turned around, and I feel like this is not a happy time for you, Taylor. I feel like something, is everything okay? And then I'm trying to focus on my photo shoot, but then my friend's in the corner upset and not talking to me. So I don't know. There's too many things going on, and I'm just trying to take the pictures. I'm trying to adjust the shutter speed and the aperture. It's a lot. Taylor was like to themselves, not interacting with any of us, to the point where the model, like as we were changing outfits, the model's like, hey, is your friend okay? Like, are they mad? And I'm like, I'm not even sure. Like, they seem like, Taylor actually seemed mad at us and wasn't even really sure what to tell the model. And the model just felt something was off. So during the second outfit, we were like outside. We had walked a little bit to take pictures, and I ended up telling the model everything that happened, why I was late. I was like, I'm so sorry. I tried to leave earlier, and I just honestly started crying. I broke down in tears. I was, again, just so upset, and I was like, I'm so sorry to make you wait. You shouldn't have done that. Thank you so much for waiting for me for an hour. I'm crying my eyes out, and she's like, no, it's fine. No, you're fine. She's so sweet. I'm in a city in Europe crying my eyes out bawling my eyes out in the street. People probably thought like, oh, her battery died, you know, like she lost the memory card. No, I almost lost my dreams. I think it just all came crashing down at one time. Just, you know, when just everything starts to hit you, you're like, I might as well cry. Here we go. Model's consoling me. And she's like, totally fine. And you know what she told me that made me feel so much better? She's like, anytime you're back in town, I would love to work with you. This is before she even saw the pictures. That made me feel a lot better. And we took some really amazing pictures. So I'm glad that she ended up waiting for me. But I would not recommend being an hour late, by the way. Taylor was being really quiet and dry, would not talk to any of us. And I even was like, hey, you want to come outside with me? Like, you want to hang out with us while I do my photo shoot? They were like, no, just didn't want to interact with us. And again, the model thought they were mad at them. And I'm just like, no, it's not you. I don't really know what's going on. It was just like a very weird vibe as well, I'll say. But anyways, I leave Taylor to it. I'm like, okay, maybe they just got stuff to do. So I wrap up my photo shoot. And then me and a few other friends, and we had met at the Airbnb. All of us were there. And we were like, hey, we're going to go out to eat. Taylor, do you want to come with us? And Taylor was just acting so weird. They were like, you know what? I think I'm going to stay in tonight. Again, very dry, like didn't really talk to us more than that. And I'm like, are you sure you don't want to come out with us? Like, we'd love for you to. No, just didn't want to come out with us. And everyone, like, you kind of like looked at everyone like, okay, like, does this person hate us? What's going on here? I was just really happy that I completed the photo shoot, that I worked with this model. So I don't think it really clicked, like everything that happened, until like I really thought about it afterwards, because I just thought to myself, and this is just me, and you can tell me what you think, but if my friend had a photo shoot that they were like an hour late for, and the model was about to leave, and they made it in time, I'll be really happy for that person. I'll be like, yeah, I would try to help them get there faster. I don't know what, but that's just me, and I would just be really happy for them. But it didn't, personally to me, it didn't seem like they were happy to see that the model was still there and that I was still going to do the photo shoot. And that's just my opinion. And when I told the story to other people, they told me like, oh, this photographer was probably trying to sabotage you. And I never like to think that anybody would intentionally sabotage another person, especially photographers sabotaging other photographers. I have a lot of photographer friends. I don't like to think that any of us would do that to each other. I like to think that we would help each other out. People were telling me like, oh, they were purposely making you late so that you missed your photo shoot because you didn't let them shoot with the model that you got. One reason why I was hesitant to ask the model if Taylor can work with her is because it took so much for me to ask her myself to work with her, because she's a professional model. And because she said yes to me, I didn't want to ruin my chances and be like, oh, I'm going to add on this thing and this thing, because I was scared the model would be like, okay, you know what, never mind. I can't do that, and it seems like it's going to be too much, and I didn't agree to work with this other person. So that's why I just didn't want to push it or like mess up my chances, if that makes sense. Again, I didn't have any confidence, and I couldn't even believe that this model would agree to work with me in the first place. So I just didn't want to I didn't want to, rock the boat at all. I would say if you're a photographer and you want to work with a model, don't have your friends ask for you. Just ask the model yourself, because they will want to see your work, and they can tell you straight up yes or no. Asking a friend just kind of puts them in a weird position because they can't make the model work with you. I don't know. What do you guys think about the story? Leave your opinion in the comments, and I would love to thank you guys for watching.